Paranormal Karen, she's so spooky. Paranormal Karen, funny too. Paranormal Karen, she's so spooky. Oh, and did I mention she's funny too? Yeah, cha-cha-cha.
Hey everybody, welcome to Paranormal Karen. Jessa Reed is back. Yay!
Hello!
I already hear the cheering. And I'll tell you how this happened. I got a text message with a link and it said, this is what I learned in alien school, which makes that my favorite phrase in the world. You can have your I love yous and will you marry me? This is what I learned in alien school. Oh, and before I forget everybody, if you give me you guys are being so good. You're giving me all these 5-star reviews and I thank you, because it makes everything easier. Also, I keep forgetting to say you can buy advertising on the show if you like. All that stuff, click on. Also, I got a date, April 5th, outside of Chicago in a theater, 40 minutes out of Chicago in a theater. I'll get you more dates for that. Email me if you want to go. And lastly, if you're in the Los Angeles area, me, or I guess Brian Singer and I, that would be proper English, we are going to be planning a ghost hunt for 20 people to come on with us. And I will have details for you soon, but you can get tickets and come ghost hunting with me and Ryan Singer. And if you've never been, we got all the equipment and we'll teach you whatever we need. And now let's get to it. So Jessa, I'm gonna let you introduce what I loved, what you sent me.
Well, so this is exciting because I had Thursday in my calendar for this, and then I got a new phone kind of suddenly and have spent the last 3 days trying to get my Mormon and the Meth Head calendar that has basically everything in it loaded up. So I just got it loaded up because I was like, is that today with Karen? And then it said Thursday. I was like, okay, cool. And then I left and was going to the gym and could just tell that I wasn't going to get a good workout. Because I have only wanted to talk about reality transurfing for days now, and it's a little rich for my blood even, and not to say like my blood is so much better, but
no, but put everybody, thinking caps.
Yeah, everyone that I'm trying to talk to about it just is over it, and so I have like energetic blue balls. I just am like, I'm so frustrated because I'm just like, can we now talk about pendulums? And so, as soon as you texted and said, are we good for today? And I was like, I will drop whatever I'm doing because I need this right now.
Yeah, well, it's amazing. It's fascinating.
The friend who mentioned, so somebody else had mentioned it to me and I remembered it being my daughter and then it wasn't, but somebody else had said it was like a different. Reality transurfing was like almost a textbook about manifestation that is different than any other way it's been presented.
And that was the first time I heard that word, transurfing.
Transurfing, yeah. So I had heard it recently from someone else, and I feel like I Googled it at the time, but maybe I was too busy. I said Google, and now my phone is
now
recording
your phone's telling us something.
Yeah, that is. I hate that. Anyway, wasn't time for me to pay attention to that. So then it came, I messaged a friend. I've been thinking a lot about, attachment and my relationship with attachment. And I have a friend who I've known since I was 15 who's psychic and gifted. And she's the one that I was like looking at Time Life books about ESP and stuff. Anyway, so we talk very rarely, but whenever we do, it's magic. And I was like, she was also a therapist for a long time.
Oh, great.
Or a psychologist or something. And so I was like, I just wish I knew someone who knew more about attachment. And then she popped in my head and I was like, I have to talk to her. So I messaged her. And then she, within a couple minutes, was like, have you heard of reality transurfing? And I was like, yes, someone said that recently. And then she and I, because we've talked extensively about manifestation, she sends me a couple links. And then she ends up sending me the book. So now I have the whole book, which is 800 pages.
Wow. And this book started out in Russian, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Because this is what I found that interesting. You know what else? And it's 12 steps, is it? I'm in my wrong help group. The first step, I got it immediately. I kind of got stuck on that because of how clear it was. Because people that know, I'm not big on that book, The Secret, at all.
Okay, thank you. So, I just told me to shut up at any point. So when The Secret came out, the benefits of The Secret was that for the first time, mainstream society was introduced to the concept that we are creating our reality. However, The Secret had giant missing pieces to manifesting reality, to where it was frustrating to me because nobody was ever going to be successful. It's all based on attachment to outcome. It's all based on the kind of wanting something that is a pushing energy. We just did an episode on manifestation where you're basically trying to court something, and there has to be a detachment from that.
And you know what it never addresses, and I heard a channeler say this the other day, and I was like, bang, that's what I was thinking. You have to address why you're resisting it.
I was just listening to that in the car. So I found someone has read, probably unauthorized, but someone has read the entire reality transurfing thing on YouTube. Oh. And so you can listen to each chapter of this massive textbook on YouTube. And so I was just listening to the part about slides and the part about being and attracting wealth. And it says, like, you have to give yourself permission, and you can gauge whether or not you have given yourself permission by going into a expensive shop and gauging how you feel in that expensive shop.
Oh, that's interesting, because I'm so uncomfortable. And this is the perfect time, because it's very funny, but I've always wanted My Little Paranormal Karen show on a network that was far away, for whatever reason. They don't like women, blah, 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 blah. Let it go, looked elsewhere. A meeting just came up in my lap, and I had to say, you have to change your thinking now.
Yeah.
Because you're used to going to these meetings and go, they won't like me. Yet the outcome in your head looks like you're charming in that meeting, and I'm in it.
Yep.
So it's like, this was almost a perfect time to say, Karen, get out of that loop.
Yes.
You got to get in this meeting and do it, and it may not be the right thing, but as soon as I became unattached to it, it came back.
Yep.
All right. Okay.
There's so much.
And all these chapters are on YouTube, because I saw you posted something in your Mormon in the Meth Head Facebook page.
Yes.
Okay. And that's what I got to do.
And a lot of when I'm reading about this kind of stuff, I don't want to absorb it from a place of knowledge. I want to absorb it from a place of understanding. So when I read any book, I never read it front to back. I just kind of flip and intuitively open it to where I need to be. And this is the perfect kind of book to do that with. So I am all over this right now. I've read a little bit of the book. I've listened to some things on YouTube. I haven't finished one of anything, which is generally how I do it. There are so many consistencies with things I learned in alien school that I've never seen anywhere else in like manifestation doctrine, in that the importance is the biggest thing. Detachment from importance. If you attach importance to things, you will not attract them to you.
Okay, got it.
And he talks about excess potential. Sorry.
Which is why it's easy when people go, I manifest parking spots.
Yes.
Because there's nothing to it.
No
you
stakes.
get your spot. Right,
exactly.
Right. Okay.
So I was just on Natalie Gray's podcast.
I was just going to say, that for all I always get emails about you and her. That's my favorite. She's my favorite. Blah, blah. Yeah. I thought everybody is just going to die when they hear you and Natalie are on the same podcast.
Yeah,
together.
It was such a great podcast too. But we ended up talking about manifestation right before this came across my lap. And so I talked about that fine line between, I always call it the Fantasyland back burner. When you talk to people and they're like, I want to be rich, I want to be famous, I want to write a book, I want to change apartments. But you can just tell where they have that stored in their mind is a place that doesn't exist. It's a place where they'll never make it happen. So in my mind, I picture that in like the upper right-hand corner, kind of where a back burner would be. And the example that I give for how to move that into a place where it actually happens is if you talk to someone who's like just hates their apartment, they want to move apartments. And then you say, well, why don't you move apartments? I have to wait till I have extra money. But that extra money is some abstract concept that doesn't actually exist because they're just waiting for money to fall out of the sky.
Right.
It's not like a tax return or a tangible thing at all. You take that same person who will talk about wanting a different apartment or to buy a house or to have a car, whatever, they want a new car, and take their thing away, like have them get evicted from their current apartment because the owner is selling it. And that person will move that to the front burner by necessity. And they will just put one foot in front of the other and figure out the means. So the trick is learning how to move things to the front burner, but then without a desperation.
Right. Without a tower card.
Yeah. So without I need this with like a burning, because that is a pushing energy. And so the analogy I used was, if you just first start dating someone, and you get needy with them right away, it will push them away. And that's a lot about, it's the law of attraction. You are attracting things to you. And when you are desperate or have to have it, and a lot of that comes from like the belief that this is going to bring you happiness. Like, no, you have to be set in happiness and just want this as an experience.
I hear people that want a relationship, and I'm like, this person has been messing with your head for over a year. Is that what you want?
Yes.
Is that really what you want to bring to you?
Yeah.
And you think it's going to get better when what?
Right.
When what? Okay, great. And you know what? I'm going to throw my, for being able to talk about it in this, I'm just going to say what I want is I want my show on the Travel Channel, like every other comic.
Yeah.
But I kind of gotta, they do paranormal. I want paranormal. So why don't we apply that to this as we read it and see if we can, so people understand like what I have to do.
Okay.
And you just tell me when to read, when to start.
So the first one is the law of variation. So I'm just gonna the things that line up with alien school, I'm just lining them up with alien school.
Do you want me to read it? Do you want to read it, or you know it well enough that you want to just put it out there?
We can read. Yeah, these ones are pretty small.
Okay,
so if you want to read it.
Number one, this is the, you just said it and then it went away from me. And I know the space of variations. Okay, according to the concept of reality described in Transurfing, the world has an infinite amount of variations and forms of reality. It means that the world can be perceived as an information structure that contains the infinity of variations of materialization with their individual scenarios and decorations. The space of variation can be imagined as sort of a tree. And listen, because I know that was confusing. This is where it became absolutely clear. The space of variations can be imagined as sort of a tree with an infinite amount of branches and their entanglements, where each branch, so-called sector, represents a certain possible variation. Zealand, that's the guy that wrote the book, suggests that our mind travels along the lines of the spaces of variation, the lines of life, as an energy potential, and materializes the variations that it is tuned into. So, I have a tree with every option. It's not going to get on the Travel Channel. It's going to start on another channel. It's going to get on the Travel Channel. It's going to happen, blah, blah, blah. And the more energy I put into the right branches of how this can happen, the more it becomes a reality.
Yes. So the one thing that has changed for me from my understanding in alien school to now is that reality used to feel like, and I talked about this on your show, I think, used to feel like a landscape, like a single landscape that I attracted things and changed my landscape. And since June of last year, it has felt like a series of moving sidewalks that are all next to each other. And I am somehow moving from sidewalk to sidewalk with the vibe I'm putting, with the frequency I'm on.
Okay, so you're being guided to move to the other sidewalk.
I'm doing it, and the control panel hasn't fully come into focus for me yet. So I think that's why this book came into my life, because I do think I will find the words to help me figure this out. So what it feels like is now I can feel trajectories. So I can tell you, with the path that I'm currently on today, I can tell you how this is going to turn out. I won't, because there is something about not doing that, but I can see it.
Okay.
There have been things and decisions that I have made, and also just attitudes and vibe, basically, that I have felt myself shift onto a different timeline, and the trajectory fades. The trajectory that I want fades, like the photograph in Back to the Future, where he's looking at that photograph of his parents or whatever. And so that has been a focal point of the last year of my life, is trying to figure out how did I hop off? And then I get back, and I'm not totally positive how I got back. And so it's been a lot of playing with things like that. But what the variations, from what I understand, is that all of these positivities or all these possibilities exist, which is string theory, right? Which I didn't used to understand before I started experiencing these timelines. I couldn't fully grasp that. But that all of the variations exist as options, but the one that is actually materialized, the one that you actually experience is the result of the one that you choose to be on. But that there are a lot of what transurfing is about is how to figure out how to get onto that timeline, basically.
And I'm going to do a little thing, and I'm going to switch my, which isn't really my goal, but I'm going to switch my goal for the purpose of what we're doing right now. Okay, so in other words, I'm in this same old loop of, say, yeah, that Joe's not going to get on the Travel Channel, or I don't know how to get to the next level, so I'm on that same loop. Now, something happens, I'm on a different moving sidewalk, and what I originally saw starts to dissolve, and then I have to turn it into something else, correct? Because now I'm in meetings, okay? So now I've gone the next step. So now I have to let the old view go and go into the new view of success. Is that what you mean?
I think I have a show that I have a network, or Aaron and I have a show that we have a network that we would like it to be on, but I feel like having that fine of a point on it affects my ability to manifest things.
I knew that's what a Wiccan always used to say. She used to say, people used to say, can you get a spell to win that I can win the lottery? And she'd go, why would you make it so narrow? Why don't you make it large? Like, can you give me a spell to bring in money for you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you don't want to laser point it. Yes.
Yeah. I think it wouldn't hurt to have that intention out there. But I find that the more narrow the point, it's hard to have that narrow of a point without attachment. So we want to have a show that is exposed to so many people that does this, that we make money, that we accomplish these aims, that carries us to this thing. But just I think the broader, the better.
And yes, and I'm going to change my goal because I think this will be easier and give you more. Let's say I tell you I want to get married. Karen, who do you want to marry? I don't know. I haven't met the guy. I want to be married, though. I want to be in a relationship. I want to be married. So let's change that to the goal because I think people can relate to that more.
Okay. I'm going to hop around a little bit, probably out of the order of this article.
Okay.
So some of the stuff that I am still wrapping my mind around, but in transurfing so far, is when he talks about creating things, he talks about excess potential. And this is something that hasn't fully formed yet for me. But that when your ideal is beyond what is, or when your ideal is very specific, especially in like relationship stuff, that the law of balance, the balancing forces will come in and push it the other direction. And some of the examples he gave in putting a person on a pedestal, building up your potential, rather than just being like, I would like love. I would like a companion, and allowing that to come into your life in whatever manifestation. You have people that have very specific. I have found, alien school-wise, that the universe does not like to be told how anything's going to play out.
So if I say to you, I want to marry Dave, and you're like, well, are you seeing Dave? No, but I want Dave. And Dave is then on a pedestal?
Dave is on a pedestal.
He's not reality? He's not in... Okay, got it.
Yeah,
got it.
So that would be considered excess potential, and in order to balance the forces out, because it creates...
then I'm actually going to drive Dave away.
You're going to drive Dave away.
Okay.
Also, like from alien school perspective, that's one thing you don't get a choice is what other people do.
Okay. And you know what is messed about that is I think sometimes people are scared. I would be scared of, I might be somebody that's actually scared of Dave. So to keep him that far away is more comfortable.
Yeah.
And I'm afraid to move onto the other sidewalk because it's easier if it's always a dream than if it's a reality.
Yeah. Okay. Love has so many different things in it. Because, there's a lot at play, especially the stuff I'm learning with attachment right now. It's like, who knows who loves what, you know?
Who knows if marriage is...
Are you just working out? Yeah, I think there are some people that are cut out for like a lifelong companion. I think love for me is just another form of education. And that love is just some kind of chain that holds you to a person so that you can work out your own salvation in their reflection, and then you move on. So selling a TV show, let's just say we'll say selling a TV show is the goal. When there is a sensation, this is the thing I was just listening to in the chapter about slides. Well, slides is a good thing.
Okay, and slides is actually one of
slides is on here, yeah.
Yes, for the people looking for the article, which I will put in the show notes. Okay. Go ahead. The second one is, and I know pendulums are a big. The second one's pendulums.
Pendulums. Okay, we can talk about pendulums because this is one that took me a long time to absorb, and then it is.
And this is a long one to read. Do you want me to read it?
No.
Okay. So we kind of everybody grasped the tree thing and the energy.
Yeah.
So we're going to get into pendulums now.
So here's my understanding of pendulums, which I feel like I can articulate better than this article. We create things. We are the creators of everything in this world. I'm just going to stay specific to this society. I did an episode once about the Trump stuff. I'm not political at all, and that doesn't come from a place of I'm privileged enough to not have to deal with it, whatever. I don't agree with the government. I haven't agreed with the government since I was 20 years old and realized what it was. I don't agree with it, so I don't feed it.
But also, it's the best pendulum that I can think of.
It is the pendulum that I use as an example because we did an episode about the Trump thing, and I talked, not an episode, but an episode about manifestation, I think. And I was like complaining about Trump and the 1% and the elite gives them power. You are creating their awesome reality by complaining about it.
Right. And you did a little of this on my episode too, which is yes. So the more you said the more we complain about the 1%, the more powerful we make them because we're giving them that energy.
Yes. So there with that, the image of a pendulum. The pendulum is something that created by the creators, but the creators don't know that they are creators. So they create it, and then the people that like it push it one way and give it with their belief and energy, and the people who don't like it then push it the other way with their dissatisfaction and complaining. And you're not stopping a pendulum by pushing it the opposite direction. You're actually making it more powerful. Right. Now you have the pendulum is swinging. Once the creation is swinging, it then subjugates its own creators as long as those creators are asleep, because now everyone is feeding it as if it is fact. And I have said this about the government repeatedly. While we are all freaking out about whether or not one justice gets put on the Supreme Court, the Supreme Court is not universal law. It's not a fact. The Supreme Court is something that we, as a society, however many hundreds of years ago when we started this country, created this. And it's been around our entire lives and generations before us, so we feel like it will exist forever. But it is actually a choice.
Right.
And if they make abortion illegal, we will find a way around that.
Right.
This isn't the 40s or the 50s. We have the fucking internet. There will be an app or something. We will figure it out. There's just too many of us. We are too awake, too enlightened, too smart. We will figure out a way. It's not going to be back alleys, whatever. It would be the best thing that ever happened. Not the best thing that ever happened.
Because it's the pushback. But yes.
Yeah. Let them close in so that we realize that their power and their authority is only exists because we believe it exists. And if they really, truly stood in our way, we would crush them.
Right.
And so if you had an entire generation of people who understood that pendulum's power is an illusion, but you are feeding it. You are its subject only because you believe that you are its subject, and you just unplugged from it, it would stop swinging.
Okay, so, and I'm going to put that in perfect terms. So the Trump haters push the pendulum one way, and the Trump lovers push it back, and then this push, and now it's swinging, and that pendulum is stronger than either group. It is just spreading, we're just whipping all this hate around. So to unplug, we don't give it energy. Doesn't mean we don't vote, we don't participate or whatever in the illusion, but we don't, this isn't our life, we don't sit and watch the news and, you know.
I make fun of him like I would make fun of I would have made fun of him when he had a reality show. I treat it like it's a TV show. Which
is also an interesting sort of old, when someone is angry with you and you don't get angry, you're sort of diffusing what they do. They want you to be in a fight, and you're just like, I kind of can't. I can't do it. This is going to work out. It's going to work out. Don't participate, but don't participate in the energy that's going out.
Right.
Perfect.
So if you want to fight, just the fighting back is an illusion. What you're doing is there are ways to fight. Like if you want to fight in support of Black Lives Matter, then you are pushing the pendulum of Black Lives Matter. There's a big difference between that and crying about how powerful this other pendulum is. You know what I mean? So push on behalf of the change you want to see, it's just a slight tweak.
So you're not pushing against something, you're pushing towards
something new.
Okay. So, and you know what? Hang on one second. That's a great cliffhanger.
All right.
Hey, you guys, looking for a great book? Never Give In to Fear, Laughing All the Way Up from Rock Bottom is the National Indie Excellence Award winner. This critically acclaimed, funny and dramatic memoir describes an emerging stand-up comic's drug-fueled descent into the underworld, escape from human traffickers, homelessness, and ultimate redemption. I promise you guys, this is going to be a movie someday as one of the most inspiring stories I've ever heard. And after I read the book, I bought 20 copies and I sent it to my friends, who then bought 20 copies and sent it to their friends. And if you have not yet karmically received your copy, go to martymac.com and order Never Give In to Fear. I cannot say enough things. You guys know. I don't read. I read this book. I picked it up. I could not put it down. Never Give In to Fear, Laughing All the Way Up from Rock Bottom at martymac.com. martymac.com. Okay, we're back. Okay. So you want to be pushing towards, not against. I get it. So in other words, the abortion thing would be I should support, instead of screaming about it, or I should support Planned Parenthood and put positive energy into helping them do whatever it is.
Yes.
Okay.
And then, so when the Supreme Court, whatever, and like I said, I don't pay a ton of attention to this stuff, but when the Supreme Court thing happened, you just had everybody running to Facebook to be like, oh my God, we're not going to be able to get abortions. This is da-da-da. And it is. It's, you just have to trust that we will always find a way out of it, and not look at the past and be like, we will find the way out of it. And there's just a detachment from this that deal with the problems right now, deal with what's happening right now, deal with what we can change right now. If these people assert themselves, if this pendulum asserts itself in a way that truly, we will find a way out of it. And if they have already, in areas that they have already asserted themselves, let's figure a way out of it.
Okay, and now let's bring this pendulum to the personal. I know we are already only on number 2. So say I decide I want to get married. So I am pushing, let me see if I can put this in the right way. So my pendulum is pushing towards I hate to be alone, which is bringing back the energy back this way, correct? How would I...
So the personal pendulums, I think, is something that I've had a hard time. I cracked a joke that my pendulum was coffee. But I don't think I live under the influence of
Would it be somebody that's conflicted?
Really. I do think I just have experienced a bit of a pendulum in a relationship, maybe, with the attachment thing. But I think for the most part, if you're awake, then you're probably not getting subjugated to the creation very easily, because I feel like this is a mechanism of the ego.
Okay, and if anybody out there has got a pendulum, send it to me, and I'll email it to Jessa, and we'll see if we can figure out how that fits into that thing.
Yeah, I feel like a pendulum is something that's going to happen with more than one person, but it is something they feel societal. So here is 10 years ago, if you wanted to get married, that could have had to do with the societal pendulum of women's worth being
or gay marriage.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So, and you know what's funny?
Religion's a pendulum. I can see the bigger ones.
I think we got a huge amount of pendulums right now, nationally and worldly.
Yeah.
So, okay. More on pendulums, or are we?
I think I'm ready to go past pendulums, although they overlap with some other things.
Yeah. Okay. Wave of Luck. Let me see how long this one is. That one's short. Want me to read that? Or you got it?
Wave of Luck. Yeah, we'll just give my interpretations of them. So Wave of Luck this one was very interesting because I don't remember anything like this specifically from Alien School, but some things that I also talked about on Natalie Gray's podcast are gratitude is the key to manifesting everything you want. There should be hours a day spent wallowing in gratitude.
Okay.
Thinking about everything that you love, feeling appreciative for everything you have. This is the frequency through which you will create your best outcomes. More important than visualizing your goal is being in this place. And I mean wallowing. I mean just drowning in it.
You know, that's an interesting thing because my dog, Courage, that everybody knows, he's always got all these health problems and then they get cleared up. And in fact, this is very interesting because they told me I couldn't get the crystals out of his urine. I changed his diet. Boom, fixed it. Now I'm in another one of those quagmires where they go, you're never going to change that. Boom, I'm in it.
Yep.
But I get such an appreciation for him. Like literally in yoga, I say, I can't believe I get another day with him. I wake up and go, I can't believe I have another day with him. It's great. But when I walk outside, and this is new, my brain turns on and it goes, thank you for this tree. Thank you for the sun. Thank you for the, and it's not, I wouldn't say it's not me, but it's like a record goes on and then, and then I hear the tree go, hey, how's it going? I go, good to see you, man. Yeah. but it somehow it turn on, like I don't know what that is, but it goes on automatically. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. Thank you for the traffic. Thank you for, what are you talking about? I don't know, but
Yeah. It is, I think maybe probably learning it maybe is a muscle that people have to.
Yes.
Because most people spend the vast majority of their time thinking about the things that they don't want. And the universe just hears you thinking about it and is like, oh, you must want more of that. So, manifesting from a place of gratitude means you're thinking about things you already love, but it is a frequency that puts you. So I am grateful for experiences, and even in the, I've had some pain recently, emotional pain, and I just, every step of it, outside of the deep, deep moments where it's like despair. And then when I come out, I'm like, I am grateful to have these experiences. Pain makes you feel so alive and connected, kind of in the 3D, where that more like 5D stuff is a kind of detached. And
I feel like sometimes I feel like the moment, like if you're taken to say something, we have an earthquake and you're bleeding, getting you to the emergency room, that's your shooter one person. Stay in the one person. This is what we got to do right now. The situation where it was with Courage, where I found out it was going to be another thing, the one person didn't work because it just made me feel crappy.
Yeah.
But when I go the big picture and go, hey, wait a minute, you know how to change these things. Now it's better. The other one, and I think this was your example, that was your example when you say shooter. And what's the other phrase you use?
So it's first-person shooter and role-playing game, RPG.
And role-playing game is very important, and I just want to say this because I've gotten over a lot of pettiness by simply asking myself. I was mad at someone on my bike the other day, and I'm rolling. You know how it rolls in your head over and over and over? And I go, if you got hit by a car, is that the last thought you want? You're in this beautiful neighborhood riding your bike in the sun, and you're going to go out thinking, I'm so mad at so-and-so. And sometimes that can take you into that, what did you say it again?
RPG.
RPG. What is that again?
Role-playing game.
Role-playing game. And so anyways, go ahead. I'm sorry, but that's the gratitude thing.
Yeah, I spend time thinking about what I'm grateful about myself. I'm grateful that I am this. I'm grateful that I am this. I'm grateful that I'm this. That's also a good way to tell, because if you're having a lot of like low self-worth or low self-esteem or what this thing calls slides, it'll be hard to do that. It'll be hard to there'll be like dissonance when you're trying to be grateful for yourself.
And to recap, wave of luck. In other words, so much gratitude that you're actually bringing that kind of energy back to you.
So a wave of luck is, according to reality transurfing, you have these different timelines, which it doesn't call them timelines, calls them variations or sectors, cross over each other sometimes. And sometimes a very lucky or best case scenario timeline will cross over yours. And like a wave, it'll pick you up for a second. This was a big one for me. It'll pick you up for a second. If you can line up through gratitude with that wave, it will carry you to that timeline.
Okay.
So here's an example of this. Yeah. Say you want to sell a TV show, but you are also in a relationship that is bad or having a rough time. And here that wave of luck comes and you get a call that you have a meeting with the network that you want. And you jump on that and just feel the excitement and the gratitude for that experience and allow yourself to move on to that timeline where everything works good. Like the second something good happens, look around and find everything possible to feel grateful for in the moment that you're in, because otherwise you'll attach too much to the future.
So in other words, you're making that switch. You're not going.
Yep.
I'm not
something good happens, and you're like, "This is good." You know what else is good? My house is good. My kids are good. My friends are good. God, look at how beautiful it is outside. Go outside and soak up the outside. Listen to music that you like. Think about all the great things and you will lift to the frequency and easily be carried with that wave of luck to the timeline that you want. Now, just like a surfer would with that wave. Now, if that wave hits and you feel it for a second, and you're like, okay, yeah, that's cool about my career, but my boyfriend really could, if he would just listen to what I want, that's just going to be a tiny wave that goes under your surfboard and keeps going because it tried to pick you up. It doesn't care if it takes you or not. None of this gives a shit. It's all what you want. But it tried to pick you up, but you were too heavy. You needed to stay on this timeline that you were currently on. So you will experience that as a tiny bump of luck rather than something that just carried you to a huge wave.
Which on the negative would be once you start with that, oh no, now this is crap. Now this happened. Now look, my whole day is going down.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
So, you pick what sector you're in by your vibe and by your perception.
Okay. That one was a little hard to grasp. Okay, excessive potentials, which we talked about before.
Yeah.
So
you should read that one because this is one I have a hard time articulating.
Okay, and then they gave you a little chart, which kind of helped out.
Yeah.
Okay, excessive potentials are created when we give too much attention and value to a certain object or event. I want my show on the Travel Channel.
Yes.
Okay. I want Dave. The subjective evaluation distorts the object's reality, giving an object or event exaggerated negative or exaggerated positive attributes. Let me try that. I want a show on the Travel Channel. It'll be perfect on the Travel Channel. This will be because that's my audience. Negative. They hate women at the Travel Channel. This is not going to work because blah, blah, blah. So I've already put two outcomes on one event. Make sense? Or am I in the right area?
I'm just having a thought right now. Things that I have noticed with manifesting is if I am too excited for something, it's always a disappointment.
Right.
This is the kind of stuff, because manifesting and comedy is because I have so many, you get to do so many shows. I've learned a lot about manifesting, something about acknowledging the possibility of failure, which might just be stopping excess potential. But there is something about when I'm like going on a vacation, and I'm like, it'll be, it's fine. I have no expectations for it. I'm not attached to it in any way. And then I have the best vacation of my life. And then other times where I've been like, I can't wait for this vacation. I can't wait for this vacation. I can't wait for this vacation. I'm putting so much importance on that event, and it's disappointing. Everything that could go wrong goes wrong. Weather's bad. I get sick, whatever. So I wonder that's lining up now with this a little bit.
You know what else this lines up to me that I think I did right is I've always wanted this show, and then I started making it.
Yes.
And now I love making it. And I was like, one day I looked up, I go, well, I got 80 episodes of this. What, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And now I love it. And now it's not really where it lands, but it's like, I just like making it. So so that sort of did it. So, okay. Excessive potentials are invisible and insensible, but they play a significant and often insidious role in people's lives. The equilibrium forces, which are targeted to remote the excess potential, will come into play. Don't worry, folks, we got a chart. They cause massive problems because their action is opposite to the intent of the created potential.
Yes.
Okay, that sounded very confusing, but here's what it looks like. So they got a whole list of things here. Excessive potential, discontent with oneself and one's shortcomings, qualities, appearance, it looks like flagellations, but it's not. Flagulations? Whatever, we'll skip it. And resentment. The equilibrium force that goes with that, the aggravation of shortcomings. So I'm thinking about everything I don't have, I don't look like, I'm not a supermodel, blah, 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 blah. Now I've got the aggravation of looking at those, and then the solution is self-development, compensation, and shortcomings. So if I'm okay with myself, not only is there no back and forth or no pendulum, it just is what it is. So, and also I don't know if this is in there, but then that clears my head to create.
Yes.
Okay. Another one, condemnation or discontent with the outside world. I hate this, what's going on in politics. I hate this, blah, 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 blah. This forces losing the power to impact the world. Now I'm just complaining about it. I can't help. I can't go to Planned Parenthood and help. I can't vote because I'm just, solution to accept the world as it is.
Yes.
So this is all sort of the excessive potential, looking down on others. Okay, so they sort of list them. I think that's a good explanation if you want to input on that.
Yeah, excess potentials is one of the ones that like I can't fully understand it until I can think of where it was my own experience, and it's been a lot of these for me are the ones where I've leaned too hard into positivity. Because there is a balance there also, and that was one of the things that was very frustrating for me with The Secret was there is an art to not just blind positivity that's fake.
Right. And so it was a blanket over a whole bunch of doubt.
Yeah.
And here's another cheat sheet, and I think this one is
better.
It's better. So, and people, and you know what? I'm going to manifest a commercial. Who do tarot readers go for tarot readings? They go to Melissa Sonova at melissasonova.com. She gave me the best reading a couple of months ago that is still resonating and helping me out now. She is authentic and to the point. You loved her on the podcast. She is the no BS tarot reader. She also has a tarot class online right now. Check it out. Just watching the promo, you will see how much fun you are going to have while you learn. Also, check out her book, which is always right beside me when I'm doing my readings or my tarot card for me in the morning. It is called Kitchen Table Tarot, and you will love it. Melissa Sonova, that's MELISSACYNOVA. Check her out. All right. So we're back to this chart, which is easier. And this is, again, we're talking about excessive potentials. And this is very important. This has a lot to do. We talk about sense of guilt. People love to feel guilty. People love to worry. When you send out a sense of guilt, the energy that the universe hears and reacts is universe, punish me. I feel guilty. I was bad. Universe, punish me. That's what you bring back to you. Sense of superiority. Universe, slap me hard for my overinflated ego.
Here's an example I can think of. Once I woke up, I realized that everything I ever said, I would never. The universe just handed me life experience where I realized I would. And I think that the sense of superiority is just such an artificial overcompensation for insecurity that the universe, like that I can see a balancing force where you're like, judging someone for something they did. This was like through my whole like drug use was like, yeah, but like I would never smoke it. And then the universe is like, until these things line up.
Right.
And then I did it. And then it was like, okay, until it got to the point where I was like, I'm going to stop saying I would never because I just become it every single time. And just knowing that gave me a humility.
You know what else? This is a weird, I'm going to jump back to pendulums for a second because I had one today and I fought it and I let it go. And comedy is very much about pendulums.
Yeah.
Is it clean? Is it dirty? Is it this? Is it that? And now there's a big article by Mel Brooks that political correctness is ruining comedy. And my thinking is,
what a hot take.
Yeah. When were you in a comedy club? I've seen plenty of things that are not, and I almost wanted to react because everybody's getting on their high horse going, he's right. I got news for everybody. Comedy's not ruined. People are still laughing.
Yeah.
So I had a fight. I go, just stay out of that. Just stay out of it.
Yeah.
Because I have a whole different view about it. And I think we tend to always make ourselves victims in comedy.
Yes.
If we're women, it's not working for us. If we're black, it's not working for us. If we're white guys, there are too many of it. You know what I mean? So I was like, take the victimhood out, step back, and let them all have their day.
That's a big one that I just never subscribe to. Like from my standpoint, I always thought, well, it's cool to be a woman because there's less of us, so there's less competition. And if someone did,
and if you do your work, you move forward.
Yeah, I mean, there's more opportunity. How did Aaron put it? Aaron had a great way of putting it because it's like now all the white dudes are like, wah, all the straight white dudes are like, wah, and Aaron's like, you can still have it, but you have to actually be good now to get it.
Yeah.
Which is how it was for the women before. So like, there are not women just standing at the door preventing you from getting your foot in it. It's just that it's not going to be handed to you without merit the way it used to be. And I thought that was such a good way of describing it.
And I always felt like it evened out. I felt like women got bumped into the middle spot easy. They didn't have to MC as much. They got bumped right in that middle spot. We want a woman in the middle. They had to fight harder to get to the headliner, but it was sort of like it somehow evened out. And
I just always felt like I don't like gatekeepers. I don't like needing something from someone else. I'll just make my own way. So I just don't pay attention. Like I just don't pay attention to it.
Just keep working.
I'm sure I've been treated like shit because I was a woman. I mean, I definitely relate to it on like a rape and, like all this other stuff. But like for my career, I just, in comedy, I feel like I like comedy because it gives me the opportunity to be autonomous and to make my own way. And if someone didn't want to give me something, then I just find a way to take it from them, take away their ability to make that decision ever again, or just make my own. And I don't need your dumb shit. And so I just never, like, I don't like to be a victim. I hate it. I hate being powerless. And so I probably just don't pay attention.
And it's way off topic, but that's sort of why I'm sure musicians have their own way, but I always feel like musicians and actors are being forced more. I've always liked comedy because you could always be you.
Yeah.
You didn't have to.
Oh God, I can't imagine how many asses you have to kiss.
For acting, we want you to be this person, and now 10,000 other people are going to try and be this person too.
Yep.
I'm with you on that. Okay. So, excessive potential. So do we need to look more into this chart? You guys can figure it out. If you are a perfectionist, you're saying to the universe, please make me struggle. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's sort of finding that's a little bit of a pendulum.
These are a lot like attachments, right? So excess desire says universe, make sure I don't get it.
Right.
Because it's trying to balance out how much over desire you have. Okay.
Right.
I'm
so
still
if you're
kind
just
of
okay with it, the universe is okay with it, everybody moves on. Okay. Induced transition. Let's see how old this one. read it? Or are you?
I haven't gotten into that one at all.
Okay. The concept of transurfing implies that each person creates his own thoughts with a separate layer of the world in which he lives. An emotional response to a negative event induces a transition to a negative line of life, pulling you into your pendulum vortex. Okay, that's the kid. That kid's in the face of the Indian man playing the drum.
Yeah.
No respect from young people. Or why is the Indian guy there? Or I should say Native American. Sorry. Now we're talking about political correctness. Okay, so you get pulled into that. Now you're pulled into a negative line,
lowering your vibration and surfing down to a less desirable timeline.
Right. Instead of going, hey, maybe what's the issue? Maybe we can help out. Whatever's going on here. By being actively interested in any negative information and emotionally responding to the negative news as a siren goes by, by being actively interested in any negative information, hang on, I gotta wait for that siren. Okay. And emotionally responding to the negative news, a person subconsciously draws the bad stuff into his life and at some point turns from an outside observer into a participant of the nightmare. The most common vortexes of destruction, pendulums are war, a crisis, unemployment, epidemics, panics, disasters, and others. You can prevent dragging yourself into such a vortex by applying the fifth rule of transurfing. Do not let any negative information into your layer of the world. Intentionally ignore it, deprive it of attention, and don't engage with interest.
So this is Alien School 101. Ignore everything you don't like. So, on a more microcosmic thing, like nothing societal I won't plug into any of that.
Okay.
So the world's on fire. It's like, all right, stay on fire out there. If there's something I could do to help or whatever, that's one thing. There's a big difference between feeling the tragedy of something and being empathetic of other people. You don't have to plug into that. There's a hopelessness that comes when you plug into the shit that's happening in the world. It feels like, oh, it's all falling apart. Oh my God, the climate change. Oh my God, there's a hopelessness that comes, and then you end up on a scarier timeline.
Because then the world is too big.
Yeah.
Now I can't do anything. I can't change.
Yeah. It just feels like out of your control, because it is. Smaller things. If somebody hits my car, that gets as much attention as is necessary to get the person's insurance, and then I just unplug. This last year, I had my car stolen while my car was stolen, which got so little energy from me. Someone broke into my house, walked into my house while I was editing a podcast in the back, took my purse, went downstairs, beeped my car, and took my car. Now, I know in this situation that this is the kind of situation that makes someone feel like their walls are closing in and that they've been violated and everything else, but I know not to give that kind of thing a bunch of power. So I just handled what needed to be handled. I was so calm that when the cops came, and it wasn't a good time for any of this to happen. Not that there ever is, but I'm insured. It's fine. I'll figure it out. While the cops were there, I was so calm that they were like, has the car payment been made? Like I guess I seemed like someone that was in on it. Yeah. But, I just went, I didn't have anything. I didn't have a wallet. I didn't have ID. I travel for a living. But I had a passport in a safe. I didn't have a car. I didn't have, everything was gone, and I had renter's insurance.
And as you're telling this, I'm going, oh my God, I would lose my mind. Yeah. So I'm plugging into the negativity that you
I was so detached. I was just like, what needs to be done? I gave it zero emotion. And then, I got renter's insurance, which I strongly recommend getting renter's insurance. It's so cheap, and it's, my God, they were like, go buy everything. Cause I usually took my mom's credit card. They were like, go buy everything. And then they put the money in my bank account in less than 24 hours. So I went out, I got a new purse.
Which may not have happened if you weren't in that state of, I'm not giving
absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. If I had checked into this cause it wasn't an inconvenience, but I was like, yeah, it's an inconvenience. It's fine. It happened. It's fine. I don't give any power to this sort of thing. Had I checked into this, it would have snowballed into I never would have been able to get the insurance people on the phone, and then the cops would have actually thought that it was a blah, blah, blah. I just went to the mall, and I was like, wow, this is cool. I got a brand new purse. I got brand new Versace sunglasses, because I had those things, but they were all worn out, I got brand new stuff. I let myself enjoy buying the new stuff. I got home. The car thing turned out to be kind of a big pain in the ass, but what I ended up with was, because I had a third row, it was only an 18-month-old car. And at first, the thing in my mind, because I had leased the car when I had a job and a husband, and now I'm like, who was in the car business, and now I don't have those things. And it's like, I had a $45,000 car for $400 a month, and now I'm like, I'm not going to get that deal again. My brain wanted to do that. And I was like, no, everything that happens, the number one rule for me, everything that happens is always in my best interest. I am always getting what I want 100% of the time. Until we reconcile that, you'll never be able to fully execute your free will. Because as long as you believe that, that you don't have, that other things are outside of your control, things will happen. But they are always happening in your best interest. You just have to see that in focus. And so
I keep getting flat tires and rear-ended, and my first thought was, in fact, everybody on Facebook was surprised that my tire got changed so fast. Tire places right down the street. I was like, damn, I love LA, because that's Then I got rear-ended, and I was like, well, everybody's okay, and everyone kept going, you're going to be sore tomorrow, and then I wasn't. And then you're going to be sore the next day, and then I wasn't. You got to wait a week, and I was like, wow. But it was all and you know what I hear from that? I hear the universe wants you to slow down.
Yeah, whatever the message is. I got a brand new car. I had a third row that cost fucking $70 a tank of gas that I didn't need anymore. I didn't need a third row because we split up. So we don't have as many kids and everything in the same house. So I had a car that was bigger than I needed when I'm on the road all the time. Now I have a regular SUV for the same amount of money that has magic features in it that drive the car pretty much. I just took it 40 hours and 4 days, and it does all this cool shit that my other car didn't do. And so it was just the universe trading everything up for me, and I just had to let it happen and deal with the minor inconvenience. But at any point, I could have just checked into the fact that, no, this is bad, this is wrong, this is blah, and I would have had a really bad time.
Okay, great. All right. And that is a learned response. I really think people need to work that muscle.
Ignore everything you don't like, and that takes a long time, but it is involuntary now. Yeah. I just detach.
Like when something goes wrong with a dog, I freak out, and then it takes me a day to go and do that. So maybe that'll be more. Okay. So this one is called A Rustle of Morning Stars. Okay, this one's short. Want me to read it?
Yeah, because I don't know that one either.
According to the theory of transurfing, materialization moves in the space of variations. That was the first one, right?
Yeah.
Space of variations. Okay. Resulting in what we call life. Depending on our thoughts and actions, certain sectors get materialized. Our soul has access to the whole information field. So you're at the trunk of the tree, and all the options are up there. Our soul has access to the whole informational field and sees what lies ahead in the future sectors that are not realized yet. Okay, wait a minute. I did that sentence wrong, or did I get it right?
I'm wondering if this is the thing I'm talking about where I can see the trajectory.
Okay. Our soul has access to the whole information field and sees what lies ahead in the future sectors that are not realized yet. Okay. Oh, I get what that means. Okay. So it means I can see all the options, but they haven't been realized yet, but I can see them. They're not lit up yet.
Yeah.
Okay. The soul knows if the variation is good or bad for us, and its senses are perceived by the mind as a vague sensation of spiritual comfort or discomfort, so-called rustling of the morning stars. This knowledge we call intuition, and it can greatly help our life. The sixth golden rule of transurfing: if it is necessary to listen to the state of it is necessary to listen to the state of spiritual discomfort. If you have to persuade yourself, then the soul says no. Okay. When you make a choice or when making a choice or taking a decision, listen to the quiet inner voice of your soul. It will help you to avoid getting on negative lines of the space of variation and advise you how to make the right choice. I got this one.
Yeah.
In a green room, a whole bunch of comics, sometimes the best time you'll ever have, sometimes not so much.
Yeah.
Very competitive young people. I got a feeling in the gut of my stomach. Don't participate in this situation. Don't even try to get in the conversation because they're competitive and it doesn't matter what you say. It's going to go down. I feel that in my stomach.
Interesting.
So I don't need to be a part of their young boys going against each other.
Yeah.
Don't do it. Feel fine. Everything's good. Chime in once. Boom, boom, boom. A whole bunch of stupid coming at me.
Yeah.
And I go, you should have sat back. You knew that this wasn't going to, nobody wanted that information. Nobody was open to it. You just tried to participate in the boys club without wanting to be part of it. Do you know what I mean? Like maybe that wasn't a great, but anytime you feel that in your gut or anytime you have to say, should I or shouldn't I?
Yep.
That's when you need to pay attention to your physical body too.
Yeah.
Okay.
I usually go with the first thing, like the intuition being the small voice and learning to listen to the small voice. My intuition has gotten I've gotten so good at listening to that voice that I will now know if a cop, when I'm driving, I will think, I wonder if I'll see a cop soon. And I know that is intuition saying there's a cop soon, and I will slow down, and it is ridiculously accurate.
Yes.
But that sounds like the description of the trajectory thing where I can just tell that I have stepped onto the wrong timeline.
Yes, and you know what? And this is, sometimes when people call me for a tarot reading, I feel like I'm just reconfirming their gut instinct. Mm-hmm. Like a lot of times, I knew it, or something like that. My friend Brian calls it, that I just did numerology last week, he calls it the 3-second rule. If you have to think about it for more than 3 seconds, you're not going to do it.
All my worst, so I used to get accused of being like having poor impulse control because I make a decision like that. And then, to feed other people's perception, like preconceived notions of how I am supposed to make decisions, I started trying to think more about things before I do them. And that's all my worst decisions. Not that I believe in wrong decisions, but it doesn't, all that I have left after that first instinct is fear. And so now I'm thinking about all these different possibilities and where things can go wrong. And now everything's convoluted and cloudy, where if I had just gone with my original instinct, because my brain is very fast at assessing risk, but then also I'm not terribly against all possibilities. So
see, I think you've sort of melded, and this is why meditation is so important. You're melding what you see visually with what your logic is with your intuition.
Yeah.
Meditation melds those two. And there's a big difference between making a decision and being impulsive, because impulsive comes from a place of fear, but making that decision and going, I want the blue car. Yeah, or whatever. I should go this way, not that way.
That's what feels right. Like I make almost everything is a feeling thing for me.
Right.
And so I notice small glitches in the matrix kind of when I'm not on the right thing, or I'll just make a decision and then I just feel that in my stomach and I'm like, nope, that wasn't it. Switch. I don't know how to describe that otherwise, but I feel like, so if I'm at the base of the tree and I'm looking up and I just start to climb out on a branch is where it's at right now. I start to climb out on a branch. I know how that branch is going to end. I just intuitively know how that branch is going to end. And so what's coming into focus for me right now is then how I get on the other branch. I've been managing to do it, but I couldn't explain it. If that makes sense.
Got it. You know what? Everyone's going to hate me, but we're bumping this to 2 parts.
Yeah, I was going to say there's no way we're going to do it.
All right, everybody. My God, isn't this fabulous? Okay, so leave me 5 stars. Share the episode if you can. So much coming up. I will see you April 5th outside of Chicago. I'm going to get more details on that. If you are a business and you want to buy advertising, although I'm thinking of reaching out to some of the businesses I love and doing it that way too. Everybody, thanks. And I can't remember anything else because we're at the end of February, so you've already come to see me in Vegas. I truly appreciated it. Thanks to Mike at Uno Rising Media. See you guys next week with part 2.